M is for Magnificat. Because churches which follow the lectionary have the option, and usually take it during Advent, to read Mary's great song of praise, and anticipation and expected announcements, it tends to become just familiar, commonplace, one of those traditions which we put back in the closet until next year rolls around, and as it is being read, folks nod their head, and you can almost see to themselves saying, "I know that song." And like any song, when we first learned it was alive, magical, wondrous, the song known as the Magnificat loses its primary attribute, amazement. It is amazing because it is great affirmation, a sung sermon of what we experts like to call God's great reversal. It reminds the powerful, the wealthy, those with influence, that's most of us, friends, that when God comes, it is not all about us. No, it is about those we don't notice, and when we do, we let our glances slide quickly past them. It is about God coming for those who would gladly make a feast out of the food that we have let the waiter remove from our table. It is about those who sit on the corners with signs asking for help, but we are too busy checking our social media to see them. It's not about those that we portray in statues, but about those who clean up the bird droppings on those bronze statues. It is amazing because this change in policy is announced not by the high priest or a king or even a man. It is taught to us by a woman in a time and a culture when women were less than second-class citizens. A woman whose words would be tuned out by those who should be shaken to the foundations of their souls by those words. It is sung by a woman, a very young woman, a young teenager, who is about to have a life of ridicule, ostracism, whispers behind her back, and judgment hurled in her face. It is also a song that she heard in place of worship, for it echoes the song of Hannah, who, like Mary, discovers that part of God's plan is always about using those least expected, those considered lost by the found, those who are belittled by the mighty. A song not just of one person's hopes, one person's heart, but a song which speaks to those who have no music, no words that anyone would care about. I remember being in a church one Advent long, long ago. It was a Magnificat Sunday, the day when Mary's song would be read, and like most of those attending, when the time came, I closed my eyes and mentally began to think of something else. But then something happened, an unexpected reversal. For the voice we heard was not of an older woman, a woman in her 40s, but the voice we heard was of an older woman, a woman in her 40s. A woman began to sing Hannah's words. "My heart exults in the Lord, my strength is exalted, my God." And her voice began to go stronger and more powerful. We were all caught up in the transformative words, which we rarely hear in worship, words of hope, promises kept, of joy found and offered to others, of a God who hears the broken, the lonely and the hopeless. And as her words grew silent at the end of Hannah's song, a new voice began to sing. A young girl of 14. Her voice was hesitant at first, but then gaining in strength in the song that transformed her heart, her life, with words where despair does not last, the hurt can be healed, that fear can become trust. It was simply amazing. Amazing because the words that were old and dated and traditional took on a new life, a new meaning, because the congregation knew that the older woman was about to bear her first child after decades of trying and hoping, of yearning and praying, and the young girl had been living on the streets for the past 2 years of her life, a life wondering when her next meal might come, where she might sleep, who she might trust in, her fears, her doubts and her worries. Until she had been taken in, no questions asked, by the older woman, with whom she shared this moment in worship. Their words, written and spoken first so long ago, became fresh, alive, transformative, amazing. But what is most amazing about the Magnificat is that it is